beautiful people. Welcome back to the Soul Tree. This is Kari, and today I'm here to talk about the Empress. So we are back to our tarot study, and today we are looking at the fourth character in the major arcana, the Empress. So I have five beautiful representations of our Empress today. This is what she looks like in the tarot of the Orishas. She is represented by the goddess Oshun, who is also known as Venus in Roman or Aphrodite in Greek. So Venus, Oshun, Aphrodite, this is the goddess of love, abundance, harmony, material wealth. She is surrounded by fresh water. I know it looks like a tree bark, but it actually is flowing water. And I believe that the illustrators are actually really smart for doing this because the Empress is also represented by the sign of Venus, the planet Venus, in the strong, sturdy, and stable earth sign of Taurus. So not only are her emotions and her spirituality and her creativity flowing, but she also is able to create abundance with the earth that's around her. And this little post-it is just here to cover up nudity. The goddesses are depicted as female with breasts. However, YouTube does not allow that imagery. So that is why Oshun is covered up on this card. But let's take a look at this, the original or mainstream illustration of the Empress. So she appears seated here on a throne that has not one but two pillows. There's like a nice little blanket beneath her. So she's not sitting on anything crude. She's sitting on things that bring her comfort, things that make her existence soft, easeful, right? And these cushions are actually made, and all this material on her is actually made from things that she values. So quality materials, valuable jewels, valuable like metals. And this really is showing like the quality of the materials that the Empress is clothed and surrounded by are quality because she has very clear and strong values. She's very, very clear on what she does not play about, what's non-negotiable for her, what she needs to feel at her best, and what she needs to be able to create the abundance that she just naturally does because she's the Empress. We also see the water here, similarly depicted in Oshun's depiction. It's just kind of differently colored, as you can see, but this water actually flows from the feet of the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is the character that's just before the Empress, the third character in the major arcana. And I know that the Empress's number is a 3, but it's only 3, although she's the fourth character, because the Fool starts at 0. So 0 is the Fool, 1 is the Magician, 2 is the High Priestess, and 3 is our fourth character, the Empress. I know it's a little confusing. We're here together. We're learning this together. So the Empress is grounded in her beliefs and her values. She believes strongly in her creative ability, and she has the wisdom flowing down to her from the High Priestess, who has the scrolls or the blueprint. The High Priestess is depicted as holding a paper scroll. You can go back to that video and look at the imagery on those cards. That scroll contains like all the wisdom and information that's required to be able to create using our minds. Now the Empress, she has all that wisdom, but what she has in addition to that is the creative power in the physical realm. So in the material world, in the third dimension, the 3D, everything that we can pick up and touch and hear and taste on our bodies, those are the things that the Empress is able to bring into the physical world. So while the High Priestess can believe and create and manifest and visualize, it's all really potential until the Empress brings it out into the physical world and can hold it in her palm. Now, the Empress is also very commonly depicted as being pregnant. She's not pregnant here on this card, as you can see, but she is surrounded by that wise and knowing knowledge. And there's a full moon indicated on her belly, right here on her solar plexus chakra, which is actually the chakra of confidence and bringing creativity forth with confidence and setting intention so that it's exactly what we wanted to create and it's not like a waste of our resources. Now, as you can see, the Empress is constantly, like in every depiction that I've shown thus far, she's in a comfortable position. She is not stressed. She's not like straining herself, as you might see with the character on the 10 of Wands, who's carrying all those wands kind of like a burden. The Empress creates naturally. It's like she inhales intention and she exhales exactly what she sees in her mind, and it comes into fruition in the real world. Now, the Empress is able to create, again, I'm going to mention her values, because she's very strong in her values and she nurtures those values. She nurtures those values because she cares for herself. The Empress energy is also very much about self-love. It is divine feminine energy, which is about receptivity. Femininity and feminine energy are receptive energies. For example, if you think about soil in the soil in the earth itself is receptive. We plant things in the soil and the soil nurtures from within. And that is why things are able to be pushed out of that soil, such as like a baby, for example, from a depicted pregnant Empress. But the reason that the Empress is depicted as a pregnant woman typically, and the reason why this full moon is here, right on one of her creative chakras, is that the Empress receives information from the outside world. The Empress is so abundant and rich within that she can go to any barren land. She can stand in the middle of a desert and cause rain to fall. She can stand in the middle of like a wasteland full of radiation and cause flowers to bloom from the earth, because she has very strong and deep self-love and worthiness. Excuse me, because she has very strong and deep self-love and worthiness within. That is what allows her to be able to nourish the seeds that are planted, or the information that she receives, or maybe the pain that she bolsters by supporting her loved ones, by supporting her community. While the Emperor is able to make decisions and cut things out that no longer are necessary and give people who need resources the things that they need, the Emperor is only able to, the masculine energy is only able to do that, be creative in an external way, because the Empress, the feminine energy, is creative in an internal way. The Empress receives all of the good and all of the bad. And because she's abundant within, and because she radiates love, and self-love specifically, she's able to radiate love onto others and allow them to feel that abundance and to really reap the benefits of those resources, both internally and externally. All right, so I've discussed Venus in Taurus being the planetary and astrological placement of the Empress, but let's go back to this Venusian imagery, shall we? So here we have an Empress seated with a heart, with the symbol of Venus, and like a gold circle in the womb area. Though I say the womb because the Ankh symbol, that circle with the cross below it, that symbolizes divine feminine energy, but it's also originally in its Egyptian meaning symbolizes a womb, which is the circle, and then a male reproductive organ with the stem here, and then the two arms radiating out are like the meeting of that creation of life and abundance spreading across. Okay, so that is what the shape really means in its original Egyptian hieroglyphic form, and it still carries that meaning as the divine feminine energy symbol. And I wonder if this circle being gold, because gold represents prosperity in the tarot, it's kind of like the Empress knows she's so valuable because, and again, remember that she's not depicted as pregnant here, but perhaps this gold in the circle indicates that she knows how fertile and capable she is at any creative project that she takes on. And because of that, her womb, or her creative power, her hands, her mind, they're aglow with prosperity and abundance. I honestly love that interpretation, and this is another reason why I love the tarot, because so much of it is about imagery, colors, associations, and understanding and interpreting. I'll also say that the sky being gold behind the Empress and the stars on her crown being gold, are they gold? They're goldish. All of that represents like having the knowledge of abundance and being surrounded both above and below your feet with abundance. So I absolutely love this Empress card and this meaning here. Going back to the symbol for divine feminine energy, or Venus, or womanhood, if you will, this is also where she gets her strength. This is a shield here, and I'm not sure if this heart here is part of the seat that she's on, or perhaps it's like another comfort object, but it is depicted as a shield in multiple places. And because of that, it shows that her divine feminine energy is not just soft and receptive, but it also is strong enough to wash away and clear out what doesn't matter, or what no longer resonates with the intention that she sets when she's nurturing and growing things. So as you can see, the Empress is also surrounded by lots of living things. It's almost like wildlife growth energy. Like, those are the words that are coming to mind for me. And when I look at this wildlife, it reminds me that the Empress is very, very confident, and she trusts slow growth. She allows things to grow in the time that is required for those specific things. The Empress is not concerned with not having immediate results. In fact, the outer results are not even really what makes her happy. The happiness comes from the inner fulfillment that comes with nurturing the things that we love, the things that love on us, nurturing the things that pour into us as much as we pour into them. Venus and Taurus, that placement for the Empress, it's never going to pour more energy into things than things pour into it. So Aphrodite, Venus, Oshun, these divine feminine energies as women, as people who attract love, they never feel the need to go chase it. They never feel the need to change something that's authentic to them in order to attract what they love, because they're so deeply rooted in their values, and they also understand that the duality of their role. While the divine feminine is a very soft and receptive and nurturing energy, we must remember that the divine feminine also carries a shield. She's warrior energy. She's not just going to sit there and allow, someone else to come into her garden and tell her where to put her plants, or where to, when she's allowed to stand under her waterfall and luxuriate in the presence of all of the fruits of her labor and of her love. But she also knows that sometimes in love, war is required, or sometimes in love, it's necessary to use our emotional awareness to cut out the things that don't belong, or that may be causing discord, for example, in the beautiful and lush, nurturing environment that she's creating for herself. Because she's not just making this, she's not just being creative and sitting in material wealth and abundance for her own joy. The Empress is doing this for everyone. The Empress is all of the four queens embodied in one divine feminine energy presence. And sometimes as a divine feminine warrior, if we're looking at the other polarity or the other side of the coin of divine feminine energy, we can think about the woman who could stand in the middle of the desert and cause rain and create a beautiful lush rainforest from it just from her creative potential alone, but who also would light a match and burn that entire rainforest down if the intention that she originally set, the intention of love, the intention of abundance and wealth and sustained joy and health, if that intention is no longer being produced by that rainforest. So I look at this shield and I'm always just reminded that divine feminine energy is not just receptive, it can also be very aggressive and prescriptive if it's necessary. No one is ever going to protect cubs like their mother. No one will go to the lengths of protecting their creation like a mother will. And that is, again, I'm not saying that as an overgeneralization for humans, because humans are fickle, humans change. We are very, very deeply led by emotions. But as a divine feminine energy and presence, that divine feminine mother is always going to become the warrior whenever it's necessary. So the Empress is so deeply rooted in her values. She has this, I love this Lisa Frank depiction. First of all, Lisa Frank tarot cards, like, get into her. But this world at the end of her scepter also indicates that the Empress has the wisdom of all knowing. She knows how the world operates. She knows that the world requires receptivity and it requires release. She knows that the world requires that unconditional love and it requires a little bit of chaos sometimes when things need to get shaken up and set back in place, that rooted in healthy and loving and collectively nurturing values. So there's so much to learn from the Empress. I could not have sat here and shared this wisdom with you all if I didn't actually take a lot of time and come to terms with some things about my own self that I wasn't accepting so that I could learn from the Empress herself. When you find the Empress in a reading, it's really encouraging you to kind of boss up, but allow your emotions and your inner worth and value and the way that you love yourself to be the driver. So it's like all the thoughts that you have can exist, but they have to be rooted in deep self-loving values. That way you can love other people. If you don't love yourself, how the hell can you love anybody else, right? Is that RuPaul? So when the Empress shows up in reverse, however, if you get an Empress in reverse, often it is, I kind of like this depiction for this description. If you get an Empress in reverse, imagine like the well behind her is completely dried up because she's doubting her creative potential and power. She's doubting, am I good enough for the love that I give myself? Am I worthy of all this comfort and luxury and abundance? Or are the things that I'm nurturing worthy of what I'm pouring into them? It's kind of like that, not really knowing if I should be giving the love that I'm giving to the things that I love, but it's all from doubt. So when the Empress comes up in reverse, it can also indicate perhaps like a feeling of laziness. Like, you see how she's kind of sitting in this chair, like chilling, knowing that she has all of the materials and resources that she needs to bring down into the 3D whatever she wants. However, the laziness, like that comfort can also become lazy if it comes up in the reverse, or if it's surrounded by cards that could be negatively interpreted. It could also be a card of ego. So that crown on her head, it's not just sitting there for decoration. It really is showing like a divine feminine assignment and a divine feminine grace and precision. The Empress made her crown because she creates everything. She made this glorious fit for herself that makes her feel good, that makes her feel sexy. Remember that Venus and Aphrodite and Oshun, these are all feminine energies that are about attracting love as well. So it's about the romance, the sexuality, the sensuality. Venus and Taurus is all about sensuality as it relates to love. So in the reverse position, all of those things could kind of be like being caught up in ego. It could be being not finding yourself worthy, or perhaps thinking that you're better than others because of a gift that you didn't necessarily work for. Perhaps you worked to refine that gift, but just kind of being egotistical and not really relying on humility and divine inner worth and like the way that you love yourself with purity, allowing those negative polarities, those lower polarity traits to be the guide of your creativity. So that is typically what you can expect from the Empress card, but the Empress is, again, always encouraging in the upright position, always encouraging you to be and know the value that is within you. Like, if you ever doubt that, simply go within and find your inner goddess and nurture her. And that is how you bring the abundance and the luxury and the money that you hope to experience in the 3D, in the physical world, okay? When I say money, I also mean time, I also mean attention, I also mean energy, I also mean intention. So I hope that you learned something great about the Empress. If you learned something new or something resonated with you about this lovely, lovely character in the Major Arcana, I would encourage you to hit that like button. It is completely free and it helps my channel thrive. And also could help me embody some of this Empress energy and continue to make amazing content to share with you all. So again, I thank you so much. Last but not least, shameless plug for my friends, Saturn Says Studios. This is a t-shirt from their first apparel drop. It says good grief, looking at grief from a positive lens and seeing how grief can wash us and cleanse us of old negative emotions that we can actually transmute into positive ones. And the illustration on the back is so beautiful. You can find them on Instagram at Saturn Says 333, and you can find me on Instagram at soultree.astro. I'll see you in the next one.